Hi, everybody. Welcome to an early July Healthy Tips for Tails. Because yesterday was the summer solstice, and which we love, the longest day of the year. And with the summer and warmer weather, we have a lot of issues going on with skin. So I wanted to do a brief introduction and some practical tips for skin allergies and itching. And we're doing this as a shortened version of a class I will be offering on July 10th, which is about skin and allergies and itching. And it will be a benefit for the Taoist Center, where I'm a member, and in honor of my very dear Qigong teacher, Dr. Alex Fang, who has been serving the community for 50 years. So we'll do a short intro with some practical tips right now. And then if you'd like to learn more, please join us on July 10th. I will send a newsletter out with the details. Okay, so skin, itching, allergies, everything that makes your hair pull out. Skin is one of the most challenging issues that we face because it's a huge organ system. It's our interface between the outside world and the inside of our body, so the exterior and the interior. And the skin is another lung. It breathes, it has pores that takes in oxygen, lets out carbon dioxide and toxins. We also eliminate toxins through our sweating. The animals don't actually have sweat glands except on their paws, but you will feel a clamminess that happens on the skin surface when they are releasing toxins or if they can't keep the nourishment. So the skin is the interface, and the nourishment of the skin comes from underneath the tissues, and it comes from the lung and the circulation of the different layers of the skin that come through the liver and the capillary system. So we're having nourishment of moisture and fluids and lymphatics, and from the lung, the movement of fluid in and out of our body with the oxygen. In Chinese medicine, the issues with itching have to do with what the Chinese consider wind. Wind is a phenomenon, not an actual substance. You don't see the wind, but you can feel how it sways and interacts with the substance. And it moves around really quickly. When there's an issue with the nourishment of the skin, we either get a dryness, which can lead to heat, or a prickly feeling that'll make us scratch. The wind comes up, wind is from the outside and also not enough nourishment coming up to the surface, or from an internal heat. That internal heat is related again to the moisture in our body, to the external temperatures, to the humidity, to the different toxins in the air. And it's also related to what we eat. So the diet has a lot of interaction with the internal temperature and environment, and that can create skin issues. In the class that we'll do later on, we'll talk about that. Today's video is basically about the external factors and what we can do practically to help when our animals start scratching and ripping themselves apart. Okay, the first thing I'd like to talk about is from a Western medicine point of view, the allergic response and the itching comes from a release of histamine. The release of histamine comes from mast cells, the circulating mast cells, which is one of our white blood cells. When there's a disruption in the membrane itself from the mast cells, histamine is released and it creates rashes and redness and itchiness and allergic reactions. Reishi mushroom has the ability to decrease that inflammatory response to the histamine release by actually stabilizing the membrane of the mast cell. It also has the ability, through its tri-terpines, I'm using a lot of science words today, to cross the blood-brain barrier. And what that does is it activates our nervous system. What happens when we start feeling prickly on our skin or itchy? It's an issue that will create anxiety and restlessness. So that anxiety or emotion of anxiety will add to the itchiness. And we see our animals become restless or anxious. That makes us restless or anxious. So using reishi mushroom is helpful for decreasing that anxiety. Another thing for decreasing that anxiety is rescue remedy, the Bach flower essence, or I've been using the spirit in nature essences, which are based on the blossoms of fruits and vegetables. And their equivalent to rescue remedy or their emergency and peaceful remedy is pear, P-E-A-R. So pear essence helps to decrease the anxiety. I've used it with Nick. Some of my clients have used it with their animals who are just totally anxious. And what we do is we put a few drops on our hands, rub it together, and pet the animal. That way we get calm as well as the animals. So that's the first thing to help with the itchiness. The milder forms of itchiness are from a decrease in moisture that come up to the skin. And we can help that with the herb nettles. Now, I've talked about nettles, Urtica, dioca, a lot of times. It's a fabulous herb that's full of a lot of minerals and B vitamins, and it helps with circulating the blood and nourishing the blood. So nettles is something you can use as a spray from making a tea, or you can use it in a powder form or through a combination remedy that's called seasonal allergy. Seasonal allergy is made by Animal Essentials. Its first ingredient is nettles. It also has burdock root, which helps moisten and move things through the liver. So it creates or clears toxins and cools the liver down. It has Eyebright, which is another herb that helps with the eyes and the sinuses and allergies. And lastly, it has licorice, which helps things move around. It's in a glycerate. The animals really tolerate it. And you can start using the Animal Essentials seasonal allergy for the milder forms of itching when it's from dryness. How do you know it's from dryness? The skin doesn't turn super red, but they feel prickly. It may be a mild redness. There are usually not eruptions, or if the eruptions are there, it'll be really tiny scabs that are dry. Also, topically, you can use something like coconut oil on the dogs, or something like lemon water as a sponge on or a spray for the cats. And you can make lemon water by slicing a lemon and putting it in boiling water, steeping it for just a short time, decanting out the fluid, cooling it, and using that as a spray or a wipe on. That will help change the pH of the skin, but it will also help to moisten and take care of a lot of the prickly feeling. So that's nettles, also with Animal Essentials seasonal allergy, and a spray of lemon water. If the issues of the skin are more intense, there's a lot of redness, there's odor, there's an oiliness to the feeling in the fur. There are actual eruptions with scabs or sores. This is something that is more heat related. So it comes up to the surface, and there may also be, if there's a lot of odor and scabs are thick, a blockage of the moisture moving through the hair follicles, the pores of the skin. And this can give you an oily feeling. And this is from the liver overheating or the external environment getting really warm and mixing with an individual who up to now has been compensating, but now it's too much. So there's excess heat going on. It's really good to cool things down. And you can cool things down through something in the diet like adding cucumber or cucumber water as a spray or adding cucumbers or coconut water in the water itself to cool the individual down. Again, you can use coconut oil topically. As an internal herb, you can use a combination called Skin Balance. And this is available through Health Concerns online. And Skin Balance has some very strong herbs in it that help to decrease heat. Sometimes these strong herbs will create diarrhea, so you have to be careful that it doesn't interfere with the digestion. In another talk, we'll talk about how the food allergies react with the skin, because the internal aspects of the intestines, when they turn inside out, my friend Marlene says that's what the skin looks like. So the reflection of what's through the digestive tract can also come out on the skin. That's from an internal environment. And we will be talking about that at another time, but it tells you that there's a very direct relationship to what you eat as to what the skin looks like. So Skin Balance, coconut water. The other thing you can do is to make a spray of plantain. This is Plantago major, and Plantago clears heat and dampness, draws things out. It will calm inflammation, it will calm redness, and act as an antiseptic. Spraying with that is really helpful. Using a sponge on if it's for a cat. You have to be really careful with any kind of essential oils when you're working with cats, because they're super sensitive, especially to the pine smell and sometimes to the cedar. For dogs, it's really good. For the cats, not so good. So I usually stick to the milder things like lemon water, sometimes vinegar and water, but the plantain is really helpful for cooling the sores on the body. Lastly, I'd like to look at just a couple of acupressure points to increase the circulation and to clear inflammation. The first one is on the end of your elbow crease, which is large intestine 11. And large intestine 11, if they're standing like this, is right on the outside of the crease. I'm going to get my little handy dandy Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob doesn't have really good elbows, but you can guesstimate where his elbow is. Going along the elbow crease, right before it hits the bone, this is large intestine 11. It's on both sides of the body. I'm going to show you on Angelique. And Angelique has much better movement here. So here we have the bending of the elbow crease, and right at the end of that elbow crease, that's large intestine 11. If we look at both of them, it's right here. The other point that's really good for the skin is spleen 6. Spleen 6, here's the ankle. Right above the ankle, there's the Achilles tendon and the bone, and in between that, just coming to the very top of where the Achilles tendon starts, this is spleen 6. Again, it's on the inside of the leg. You can see it on both sides. And this is a point that helps to nourish the blood. Remember, one of the reasons that the skin will get itchy is that there's not enough nourishment of blood coming up toward the skin surface. Spleen 6 is on both sides. Looking up here. This is very interesting. Okay. And both of these points are very helpful for mitigating the skin itching and to increase moisture and nourishment to the skin. So I hope this has been very helpful for practical tips. And again, I will be sending out a newsletter to tell you about the online class for skin on July 10th as a benefit for the Dioca Center here in Oakland. And it will be available in person where you can ask me questions. And in addition, you will be able to get it afterwards as a recording. So thank you so much for Healthy Tips for Tails, all of the patrons who are supporting me. We love to support you and we love to support your animals. See you next time.